Want to welcome our viewers. Thank you for joining us again today. Today we have with us Mr. Paul Jerome, our city administrator. Thank you for being with us, Paul.
Great to be with you, Mayor.
All right, so a lot of things happening in the city, and we won't be able to get to everything, but what are some of the things that have been really big current issues that our residents might want to know about?
Well, one of the big issues we've had recently is we've had some failures at some of our wells. And you, as well as the council, know about this because I've been updating you constantly on this, but we have had some failures, mechanical failures. The wells still have water in them, but we haven't been able to access that. And so we've had as many as half of our wells down at any one time this watering season. One of those is still down. It's not being used yet. It is actually running, but we have to test it to make sure the water is good, and then we'll put that into the system. But that was just, the repair was finished yesterday. So we've actually had some challenges to try to bridge the gap with not having enough water going into the tanks for outdoor irrigation. And through the conservation efforts of the city, we've made it happen.
Well, when it's 90, 100 degrees out, water's in high demand everywhere, right? And so mechanically, it just can be difficult to keep up with that kind of demand. And even though we have redundancies, when we might have twice as many wells as we actually need, but when half of them go down, it gets a little spooky, right?
Yeah. We want to have redundancy in the system so that we can be prepared for this, but no one can prepare for half of the wells going down at once. So, but yeah, thankfully we've had rain that's fallen at times, and people have responded in the city by backing off their watering during those times. We've actually encouraged residents with odd number addresses to water Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and even addresses to water Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and then Sunday becomes kind of a recovery day for the tanks. And we've seen the effects of that as well. So we appreciate the efforts of the residents to conserve.
Yeah, we really do have to applaud our residents for making those adjustments, and it is noticeable. So good job, everybody. It's much appreciated.
Yes, it is.
Especially during those hot days, right?
Right. Yeah, we've got, it looks like 90s from here on out, 90s to near 100 for the whole month of July. So it's getting warm.
So, based on this experience, we know that twice as many wells is maybe not where we want to be. What are our plans there for the future? There are wells planned. I'm just going to say it. We have additional wells planned.
We actually have one that's under construction right now near Hidden Hollow Elementary. They're in just the Unity Pass area. That'll be our well number 7. We're actually working on another well down here as well that will be well number 8. And so that's kind of where we're going with those.
How is this being paid for, Paul?
So this is being paid for through impact fees, the additional wells. So we collect impact fees from all new construction. Basically, an impact fee is exactly what it sounds like. Whatever the impact an additional home has or business has on the system is overall, they have to pay for that impact so that we can do infrastructure upgrades to be able to meet the demand that they're going to create in the future. Yeah.
So the point being is that this will not be funded through property taxes, for example.
No, it won't be funded through property tax or user rates actually either.
Okay.
So
and that's
new source is coming from growth.
Okay, very good. And obviously all of those impact fees aren't here today. They'll be coming in the coming months and years. So how do we bridge that gap, Paul?
Well, we do have an impact fee fund balance. So we take that and we actually, through our city engineer, our public utilities manager, we try to forecast based on growth patterns, what we're going to need, when we're going to need it. And it's not as simple as just, okay, let's just dig another well right here. We've got to know exactly where is the best location for the next well based on growth, based on pressure zones. So, pressure zones are, where can you get the water to from that well? So you have to base it all on that. There is the possibility, we've done it before, that we may have to bond. We aren't planning on it for these wells right now, but there always is that possibility that we bond. And when you bond in a utility like the water fund, you actually do pledge the user revenue as the collateral behind that bond. But what we use to pay the actual bond is those impact fee revenues.
Okay. What other infrastructure can we look forward to?
Well, anyone that drives down in the city center or lives in city center knows that Eagle Mountain Boulevard is under construction right now. We did get a bond, a sizable bond. Speaking of bonds for impact fee related infrastructure, we got one for transportation. That will fund this Eagle Mountain Boulevard project that's under construction right now. It'll also fund getting Mid-Valley Road from where it ends near Frontier Middle School all the way to Eagle Mountain Boulevard. So you'll have that connectivity between the two major roads coming through the city center. In addition to that, we're going to do kind of the first phase, well actually it's really the second phase of Old Airport Road from where it terminates near the Overland subdivision all the way up to SR 73 with that bond as well. And that's a temporary funding source for that bond, because we are actually getting money from UDOT through Mountain Land Association of Governments to be able to pay for that, but we won't get the funding
Yeah, that's
for a few years after.
26 money, I believe.
Yes,
yeah.
I believe you're right.
So, but with this bond, it allows us to go ahead and move forward on this project now instead of waiting 4 years
Correct.
To start it.
Yes, and then we'll use the revenue we get from UDOT to pay off that portion of the bond.
For another project then, right?
Yes,
Whatever that may
yep.
be.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, good. How about, one thing we don't talk about a lot though is the advances in technology and things that the city has done in regard to sewer treatment and that water use. Can you talk to that subject a little?
Yeah, we're actually looking into getting our wastewater down to what's called a type 1, which means that it's been treated enough that it actually can be used for outdoor irrigation. Right now we actually have reuse going on in the city from Facebook, and that's going to be pumped to Corey Ride Memorial Park to do outdoor watering there. But what we want to do is take some of the water from the actual sewer treatment plant and use that for outdoor watering in subdivisions. And so what we're doing is concentrating on the subdivisions that are near the sewer treatment plant, because the cost is obviously lower. You have to have a different pipe for that. It's called purple pipe.
Purple pipe, yep.
So we have to work with the developers to be able to get that additional infrastructure in the ground, which is a cost to them.
So that will most likely be new development then.
It'll be new development, yeah. Pressurized irrigation from that type of source, wastewater, is really probably too costly to ever make it pencil out for existing subdivisions. When you have cities that are near a water source like Utah Lake, Saratoga Springs, Lehigh, they were able to easily get that source, that pressurized irrigation source, to those subdivisions from the outset. But we don't have a navigable body of water, is what it's called here in the Cedar Valley, or that's near enough to the ranches area, the North Service area, to be able to actually get that, from the outset of this, from the very foundation of the city, and have it be viable. But this actually will be viable in the future.
That's really exciting, and it's going to be fun to watch that as it moves forward, as we apply new technologies to that system and just increase our efficiencies and capabilities to make Eagle Mountain better. And that's, of course, one of the, being a city manager of Eagle Mountain, one of the fastest growing cities in the country, can be rather stressful. Would you agree?
It is, yes. I joke around that every time we as employees wake up in the morning, we're employees of a different city than the one we went to bed at, working for at night, because it's grown so fast. I mean, we've seen where as many as 6 to 7 homes a day are being built in the city. I think it was 1,600 homes last year. So yes, it is challenging to keep up with that. There's always new challenges that come up as a consequence to that. What works today may not work tomorrow, because you've got a new subdivision or a new issue that growth has brought up, and then you have to change things up.
So it gives Eagle Mountain the opportunity to be on the forefront of almost every topic that touches a city. We get to be, one of the first, in those segments, right? In implementing technologies and moving things forward, and so that definitely makes it interesting. But yeah, it's a lot to take on, and it's constantly moving. All right, well, thank you to our viewers for joining us, and thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you.